do it, friends.
You're 91 and feeling like having fun. Feeling fun.
Feeling almost done. You know what? This is the home stretch. We made it.
This is the start of the final quarter of the show.
You ever get a quarter and you're like, that's not that much money?
But you ever get 75 cents and then you're like, God damn, I'm a quarter shy of a whole damn buck.
A whole dollar. I could buy a half a pack of gum.
You can walk in
What can you buy for $1?
For $1, you can probably buy you can go
can of pop sometimes.
Can of pop sometimes, tiny little candy bar sometimes, depending on the dep you go to.
Yeah.
You can probably get a
Dollarama, you can still get a chocolate bar for $1.
Yes, you sure can.
It used to be 50 cents. I think it's 82 now.
Yes.
Plus tax.
So, we are officially just a quarter shy of a dollar store chocolate bar, and frankly, what a goal to set for ourselves.
What a day to be here.
What a day to be here on this.
Thank you for coming to episode 91.
It's nothing but it's simply a milestone. That's all we can say. It's simply put, it's a milestone.
I'd like to think it is a smilestone.
Oh.
Pop those gums up, baby, and show me your old front teeth.
That's what smiling is. Popping the gums up and showing the front teeth. You know what they say? Thumbs up, gums up.
Thumbs up, gums up. Oh, because smiles. Guns out. Smiles.
Guns out, smiles.
Welcome to the show.
Gun smiles, heroes. Welcome to the show.
We watched Lost.
We watched Lost in the wrong order, and this week we watched another episode of Lost of little to no relation to the previous episode of Lost.
And you know what? I'll come out and say it. You know, we watched Lost in the wrong order.
Yeah.
I think with this week's episode, the right order would be to just not watch it altogether.
That's a valid choice, and I cannot help but agree. That's the right order of Lost is directly into the trash.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say, okay, I'm just going to say we watched a bad one this week.
Uh-huh.
We watched one that was no good.
No good.
And we'll get into it. Where do you want to start?
I
suppose we should say what episode we watched. We watched season 1, episode 13, Hearts and Minds. And folks, it is the first, last, and only episode featuring the character of Boone Carlisle.
Yeah, it is all about Boone.
All about Boone.
And I don't know, should we just dive into it?
Yeah,
should we just
do you want to dive into the shit or the good?
Let's present it the way we regularly present it, and I don't know. It's like, I'm
asking if we
dive into the Boone, I think.
To the flashback?
Yeah.
All right.
I think maybe we should just do it.
Yeah. All right.
So this is a really bad episode in such an interesting way, because Lost is usually it's bad because it's just like lost sense of itself. It's nonsensical.
It doesn't make sense. It's not interesting. People are just making bizarre decisions. That's kind of present here, but I'm just gonna say right now, content warning for a lot of shit. Content warning for domestic abuse and content warning for incest.
Yeah.
We're gonna throw some timestamps in the descriptions. These flashbacks fucking suck, dude.
I'd say we can keep it to 5 minutes max.
Yeah.
So hopefully by the 9-minute mark or something, we'll be out of the shit.
I hope so. But there's so much shit.
There's so much shit.
It's just awful.
So Boone gets a phone call.
Yes, Boone's enjoying a hearty round of tennis, his favorite sport. He gets a phone call, and it's Shannon. And Shannon's saying, Boone, I'm in trouble. You have to come get me. And Boone says, what? And then we hear Shannon screaming and saying, get away from me. Oh, no, and such. And Boone says, oh, my gosh, I'm coming right away. Where are you? Sydney, Australia? Okay, here we go. Let's go. And the next scene is Boone showing up at Sydney, Australia. Boone knocks upon the door. And Shannon...
a man answers.
The man answers, yes. A man named Brian, who is Australian and big and buff.
Yeah.
And he's like, who the heck are you, mate?
Exactly.
Exactly like that.
And Boone's like, I'm Shannon's brother. Let me in.
And Brian's like, we weren't expecting you today. And Shannon says, listen, maybe Boone, now's not a good time. Could you come back later, like tomorrow night maybe? Would that be better? And while she's doing this, she swipes away her hair, and we can see a big bruise. Yikes. And so Boone takes the hint and says, all right, I'll come back tomorrow. It's fine. What happens next? Next, then Boone goes to the police about this.
Oh, yeah.
Boone says, I saw a bruise on my sister. I heard a domestic altercation. You guys gotta do something about this.
The police are predictably not helpful.
Police are not helpful in a way that is very they do the classic, like, we don't have enough to go on, unfortunately. We can't just go barging into people's apartments. And the policeman drops a wacky line, and the line he drops is well, sadly, sir, we're the police, not the dating police.
Crazy line.
Is this not
this is a police matter.
Yeah. This isn't.
You realize
domestic abuse is not just like a dating problem.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking
He's not
about?
like, I need to report a heartbreak.
No, I need to report an assault. What are you talking about,
God.
Officer?
Yeah.
Of the law,
detective.
Jesus Christ.
So yeah.
Oh, one thing I want to mention.
Cops.
Bad cops. One thing I want to mention about
we
the scene
have
real
a funny
quick.
moment.
Funny moment where we see Sawyer getting wrestled in. He doesn't really. Sawyer gets kind of like dragged around behind, and he's just like, nobody wants to hear my side of the story. And he's like, I forget why he's getting arrested.
I don't remember him getting arrested in Australia.
No, me neither. I'm curious if maybe the questions address this, but we'll see, I guess. Anyways, Sawyer comes by, and they both say, haha, Sawyer, what a guy. Back to our problem of domestic abuse.
What is he? He goes and sees the man.
He goes and sees the man by a yacht.
The man, Shannon's boyfriend. Who is, we presume, abusive.
Yes. And Boone says, listen, I'm the COO of the biggest wedding company in the United States.
He's really proud of this fact.
I'm very proud of this fact, and I'm super rich. So listen, you name your price, you break up with Shannon. That's the deal, bub. And Brian kind of negotiates his way up to $50,000. $50,000. And Boone writes the check. The next scene. Shannon. Boone arrives to Brian's house to pick up Shannon. And Boone says, all right, get your things, we're leaving. And Shannon's like, I don't know. And then Brian comes in and says, oh, you came through? Oh, man, you don't get it, do you? You really don't get it. And then suddenly it clicks for Boone. Brian and Shannon were scamming Boone out of money.
He's been deceived.
It's never quite outright stated, but the implication is that the domestic abuse being witnessed here was
It was made up.
It was a false.
In order to create a situation in which Boone pays him to leave.
Yes. It was a made-up situation so that...
And we know at this point that this is not the first time that this has happened.
Yes.
So it indicates that likely Shannon has a repeated history of, like, essentially faking domestic abuse in order to con her Boone/her stepmom out of money.
I think that goes without saying that this sucks.
Yeah,
Not like as like writing, this fucking sucks so much ass. Like what a horrible myth to perpetuate about domestic abuse.
Yeah, it's weird to be like, all right, it's gonna be the domestic abuse episode. Firstly, didn't need that episode.
No.
And then you're like, secondly, oh, but she's just lying.
Yeah.
For her own gain.
Yeah, what a fun thing to turn into a twist.
Yeah, this is awful.
It's so bad.
Yeah.
But don't worry, it gets worse.
It gets worse.
It amazingly gets worse. So Brian ends up beating the shit out of Boone. And we get the final scene. Boone is in a hotel in Australia, and you know it's Australia because there's a big shiny JPEG of the Sydney Opera House.
He's right beside the Sydney Opera House. He's like,
it's the best view in the city.
14 feet away from the Sydney Opera House. It's so funny that they had to put that
it's
there.
Really good.
Like, how will they know it's Sydney?
They gotta put the Sydney Opera House. There's no other landmark in Sydney.
It's the Opera House, yeah.
And so there's a knock on the door, and it's Shannon. Shannon says Brian took the money and fled. So I've been duped. Oh no. And Boone's kind of unrepentant, kind of like, yeah, well, you played me and then you got played, so I guess that's what you get, huh? And then she realizes, oh, Shannon's actually drunk. Oh shit. And then Shannon starts to lay it out and says, I knew you'd come with the money. I knew you'd come with the money that's rightfully mine in the first place. And I know this because you're in love with me. You've been in love with me since we were kids, and you're in love with me now. And Boone's like, that's fucked up. That's not right. And then Shannon kisses Boone. And then Boone says, stop. And then they have sex. I want to stress that they're step siblings, but it doesn't make it like the show makes a point a couple of times of underlining the fact that they're step siblings. But that doesn't make this any better to see or bear witness to. They also
underline the bizarreness in their relationship, though, where Boone will insist many times. He'll just insist on calling Shannon his sister, and they never address each other as step siblings. Yeah. And there's times whenever people are like, "Oh, so she's your stepsister," and they're like, and that sort of seems to miff Boone or something. Yeah. So it I don't know. They just make it so complicated. Yes. And which I guess to them makes it intriguing or something, but it just feels icky.
It's so fucking completely unnecessary.
Yeah, we didn't need the incestuous hot Californians.
No, there's no justification for this at all. It
doesn't do anything. It doesn't add anything.
Even if I'm playing absolute devil's advocate, it doesn't add to their fucking characters at all. No. They don't it's not oh, now this adds depth to their relationship. It's just gross.
Cuz it doesn't propel things forward. Yeah. Really.
It's not and this is from the era of Lost where it's oh, what's the twist about? The twist about Locke is that he was a paraplegic. The twist about Michael is that he's actually loves his son or whatever. Or they're it's always oh, what don't we? I'm excited to learn about these characters, right? That's what a terrible thing to learn.
No. What are you especially for two characters who die pretty quickly afterwards, and it's such an elaborate and stupid setup. Yeah. For no payoff ultimately. Yeah. It's just the unnecessary incest storyline that isn't cool.
It's just gross. It could even be you could even read this scene as assault on Shannon's part because Boone says stop and Shannon keeps going.
Totally.
It's so
there's so much
there's
so much deceit. Yeah. And coaxing and dishonesty in their relationship. Yeah. It's really gross.
It's gross. And this episode makes it clear that the majority Boone is a rube being rubed by Shannon. Yeah. Which is to say emotionally manipulated and abused. Yeah. And that's fucking
It never really views it that way though. It's always just oh, well, whatever.
That's just my sister. Yeah. But that's such a heavy. That's so heavy, and the show handles it with the grace of the show Lost.
Exactly.
With the grace of a show that depicts Africa with orange, with an orange filter. It's fucking
nuts.
Awful.
But you know what?
It's literally some of the most repulsive shit I've seen on this show, and that's saying something.
You know what? And I feel bad saying this, especially since we put it into context so much and stuff. But after they have sex, there is this what I think is a somewhat funny scene where you just see Boone's face in the dark, and he's shirtless. I think we are to believe that he's sitting naked on the edge of the bed. And he's just looking sort of pensively and sort of sadly at the floor or wall area. And then Shannon turns on the light, and she's fully clothed in a chair off to the side by a lamp. And I just love the idea that they had their bizarre step-sibling love affair, and then Boone was I'm just gonna fucking sit and stare at the wall naked for a while. And Shannon's okay, I'll just get dressed and I'll be in the dark over here. Okay.
and when I'm ready to talk, I'll turn the light on.
It's holy shit.
It really
this
is like
fucking nuts.
They really treat this shit like it's some soap opera shit.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's some deadly serious shit.
It's funny though, watching, because this really happened later that I really felt it. But watching Boone and Shannon interact, and they had like one tense scene in the jungle, later on, and it's like it just feels like a soap opera, because especially Boone feels like a soap opera actor. I mean, he probably literally is, but it's just very soap opera.
It's incredibly soap opera,
and we don't need it to be a soap opera.
No, I don't have anything more to say about the fucking maybe worst flashback I've seen in the show yet. So I'm ready to move on.
Shall we leave the past in the past?
Let's leave the past in the past and move on to the present, where Boone and Locke are best friends.
Yeah.
The first scene we see is from Boone's perspective. He's watching Shannon and Saeed get along. And he walks up to Saeed and says, "You leave Shannon alone, mister." And Saeed's like,
no.
Saeed's like, I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah.
Like, what? Saeed literally says, "And what if I don't?"
Yeah.
With a grin on his face.
Yeah.
Saeed
He's just
rules.
like, this is stupid.
Saeed's great.
Yeah.
So.
And that's the end of that plot line.
That's the end of that plot. Locke says, "All right, Boone, time to go hunt some boars." And so they go to hunt boars, and then along the way, they have a little conversation where Boone says, "You know what? People are asking about us. People are realizing we're not coming back with boars. Soon they're going to ask us what the heck we're doing out here, and we're going to have to tell them the truth." And Locke says, "Well, we're not ready for that." And they go into the jungle, and what the heck are they doing? They're not hunting boars at all.
They found the hatch. I think this might be the big hatch reveal.
Yes, I think this is actually the first time, if you were watching it regular style, you would see the hatch.
Because we know that they found something, but we don't know that it's like a door in the middle of the jungle.
And so a lot of their plot is, or at least at the start, their plot is like, what the heck are we gonna do with this hatch? A very funny thing happens where Locke says, "How? That's the big mystery, isn't it? How do you open a hatch with no handle or latch?" He says it like that. I'm not making it up. He's
Dr. Seuss moment.
he slips into his classic Locke, always trying to make funny rhymes to please Boone, to make Boone smile.
To appease Boone's like, what are we doing? Like, people are gonna ask. Locke just offers this anecdote about Michelangelo. And he's like, Michelangelo stared at a big piece of marble for a long time, and then one day a prince came and he saw Michelangelo and he was like, "What are you doing staring at the marble?" And Michelangelo was like, "I'm working." And then 4 years later, that marble was the statue of David. And it's like, okay.
And Boone's like, "That's not helpful."
Yeah.
That's not helpful at all.
Sean, can we tell people about the hatch?
Is a block of marble that we're chiseling with our smart brains.
Yeah.
And so but yeah, they're like, well, that's what we're here for. We're trying to figure out what to do. I don't know. And also all the while, Locke is like kind of making some kind of weird jungle paste. He's
making jungle paste and a melon.
He's fashioned a mortar and pestle out of a melon and a stick.
Which would not work.
Would not work. And he's fucking putting together some kind of paste. And Boone's like, "What's that?" And Locke's just like, "Don't worry about it. It's fine.
It's nothing.
It's nothing. It's just a fun thing that I like to do." So Boone expresses some more anxieties. Boone says, "Listen, Shannon's been asking me about this hatch. I think I should tell Shannon. Shannon means a great deal to me. She can keep a secret, and I can't keep lying to her." And Locke says, "All right, sounds good to me," and then immediately bops him in the back of the head.
Yeah.
Then when Boone wakes up, he is tied the fuck up.
Yes.
He's got ropes around his neck, his arms in like a weird twisted way where if he tries to move, he'll like end up putting more pressure on his arms. And he's just like sitting on his knees, tied up, and he's like, "Locke, fuck you. What did you do? Why did you do this?" And Locke says,
Locke's still working with the melon shit.
Locke's like, "Shut up. I'm making my paste here."
Yeah.
"Let me make my paste, sir."
And then he takes his paste and he's like, you have an open wound.
An open wound getting infected out here. Wouldn't that be a shame?
So he just pastes Boone's head.
He just fucking puts a dollop of peanut butter on Boone's hair.
Weird.
and Boone's like, "Don't do that."
No, why?
Please. And so Locke gives like some like unhinged reason.
Yeah, he's like, yo, you gotta think about what you're doing.
You think you thought this telling Shannon about the hatch thing through, but it's clear that you haven't really, even though you said it. So this is a test that I've set up for you, and he fucking does the classic Locke thing where he throws a knife like, and it lands like an inch away from them, and he says like, all right, get that out. Camps due 4 miles west of here. And Boone's like, I can't reach this knife. And Locke says, well, when you get the motivation, you'll be able to reach it just fine.
Which is insane.
And then he just leaves Boone.
He leaves Boone in the woods tied up.
His friend with whom he shares a secret.
Yeah.
What? Locke, you can't do these things.
It's really mean.
It's mean.
It's cool, but it's mean. It's cool.
It is cool. There's no denying that
really
it's like
cool.
very... If this happened to me, I would not be friends with Locke again.
No, I would never be friends with Locke again.
No, but
I would be so mad at him.
I would be mad. That would ruin my whole day.
Yeah.
I had plans.
I don't want your melon paste.
I was gonna do groceries.
Yes.
I was gonna do laundry, and now
go to Timmy's.
I was gonna go to Timmy's. Now how am I gonna get my Timmy's if I'm all tied up?
Sorry, I'm all tied up. A little busy today. I'm all tied up.
A little busy. I'm all tied up.
Get it?
Literally. Boone maintains a great sense of humor through this whole ordeal by cracking wise about Timmy's. He says, give me my Timmy's and I won't get hurt.
And other people, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But me, no. But then what happens? And then Boone... I guess it goes away. Yeah. Then we come back to Boone, and he starts to hear Shannon screaming.
Yes, he hears Shannon screaming and Shannon says, Locke tied me up too. Oh no! And Boone's like, oh no, I'm coming to get you, Shannon, and tries to reach for the knife and can't without hurting himself. And then we hear the famous howl of the beast called the monster. Ow. He goes, oh no! Spooky, scary.
So it's scary.
It's scary. Yeah. Boone is scared shitless.
Scary Gary.
Boone says, that's the scariest thing I've ever heard.
Gary?
and then manages to summon the sheer mental will to
fight through the pain.
And
that Locke inflicted upon him.
And reach for the knife.
Yeah.
And cut himself free.
He gets the knife.
He gets a knife, cuts himself free, and then he
goes and he gets Shannon.
He's
tied up.
And frees Shannon, and they go running through the jungle. They hide in a bamboo thicket from the monster. And then the monster passes, and they say, all right, let's go. I think it's safe. And then Shannon starts grilling Boone and saying, hey, your psycho friend did this, and why? And Boone's just like, don't worry about it.
We're going back to camp. I don't want to chat.
And then Shannon says, like, all right, I know you guys have been coming back with no bore. Spill it, Buster. What have you guys been really up to, you and your friend Locke? And Boone comes clean and says, listen, there's a hatch that we found a hatch. We're trying to open it. That's what we've been doing. And Shannon's understandably, like, pissed. Like, what? Yeah. You haven't been doing the hunting? Like, people need to eat.
We need boar, Boone.
And then the monster comes running back again, and they run away from the monster. Oh, no, oh, no.
Oh, no.
But then Shannon gets picked up by the monster. And then Boone finds Shannon's corpse.
Shannon's dead, lifeless corpse.
Mangled up by the monster, letting blood into the river. It's Shannon's corpse, folks.
He cries, hugs Shannon's corpse, and that's the end of Shannon.
R.I.P. Shannon. Understandably, Boone immediately sees Locke and comes at him with a knife.
Yeah.
And says, you killed her. You killed Shannon. And then Locke says, whoa, buddy. I may have tied you up and your sister up and left you to die, but hey, listen.
I didn't murder anybody.
I didn't murder nobody. Listen, hey, get a load of this little parlor trick. You're gonna shit your pants when you hear this one. How do you like my characterization of Locke?
Great.
Flawless.
The little torturous magician.
Terry O'Quinn really is on.
I didn't really kill your mother.
I didn't really kill your sister.
Your sister.
She's over there. And you don't have any blood on your clothes. Why's that? Because guess what? The paste. The little peanut butter that I dolloped upon your dome. It was, of course, a hallucinogen that I put in your bloodstream.
Locke gave Boone drugs.
So is it better or worse? Is it better that he tied up Boone, left him for dead, tied up Shannon, left her for dead, and Shannon died by the hands of the monster? Or is it better that he tied up Boone, left him for dead, high off of his gourd, off of drugs without him knowing? Both are pretty bad.
Yeah, I would choose neither in this instance. I think it doesn't paint a good picture of Locke.
Yeah, it's like kind of played like okay, Shannon's not really dead. He didn't really tie up Shannon. Yeah. He just drugged Boone against his will. Like, fucking
It's
what?
Weird. It's, And then Locke is like, but how did you feel whenever Shannon was dead?
Yes.
And Boone's like, I felt relieved. I felt relieved. I felt relieved.
Yes.
And Locke's like, it's time for you to let go.
So, like, the implication...
So that's where we got.
That's where we got. That's what it all led to. Locke's ultimate plan. Locke saw that his only friend who knew the secret about the hatch was having doubts.
Uh-huh.
And his solution was...
To drug him in the woods.
To drug him in the woods so that, knowing that he would potentially hallucinate about his sister
dying
and get over him.
Yeah.
Apparently having a greater understanding of Boone and Shannon's relationship than any of us could ever have.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Like, I mean,
so it's something.
It's
something else.
It's something else. We really gotta stress that Boone's actor, Ian Somerhalder,
he's not good.
He's not good. The best acting he does in the episode is when he's like tied up and reaching for the knife. I believe that he's in pain.
Yeah.
I believe that he's really hurting and struggling to get that
I was
knife.
in pain watching him act this episode.
Hey!
He's not good.
He's not good. He's not good at acting. Yeah, it's fucking awful. That's the last Boone episode, and good riddance.
Yeah.
Rest
in piss, Boone.
Well, guess what, though? There's other stuff happening, though.
There is.
The one redeeming factor of this episode is that it is a season 1 episode, and so there's a bunch of little subplots where everybody's just kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
And it's nice.
It's okay.
It's fine.
It's okay. The best plot, I think, by far is Hurley is convinced that Jin hates him.
Yes.
And he needs to eat protein.
Yes. So the problem with the boys not bringing back the boar.
Yeah.
Hurley doesn't have protein, and he's got problems with his bowels now. He's talking about it with Jack, and he's like, "What should I do? I don't have any protein." And he's like, "Well, Jin's doing fishing." And then he's like, "Well, that guy has a grudge out for me ever since I turned down his fish on the first day." And so also there's a funny comedy bit of where Hurley's gathering big old leaves, and Jack's like, "You're not eating those, are you?" And Hurley says, "Buddy, these aren't for eating. They're for wiping my ass."
They're for wiping my ass.
My favorite part of Hurley is when he says his famous catchphrase, "Go wipe my ass."
Why don't you get out of here and wipe my ass?
Why don't you go wipe your own ass?
Yeah, wipe my ass.
He says it all the time, and every time I scream laughing.
It's funny. It's funny.
It's just funny stuff.
But then Hurley's like, okay, I should eat some fish.
And yes, and he goes to try to make he goes to try to communicate with Jin and says like, "Listen, can you just show me where the fish are? And I can.
I'll get my own fish.
I'll get my own fish. I got my own tools. I got this stick with a razor blade on it. I got this shirt with 2 sticks on it. That's a net now. And Jin's just kind of like laughing and speaking Korean and being like, whatever.
Yeah.
I gotta go fish. And so
wipe your own ass.
So why don't you go wipe your own ass, really? And Jin is like fishing cleanly and beautifully next to Hurley, who's just like poking at the water and screaming and being like, "Damn it, why, God!"
Mostly regular fails, some epic fails.
Yeah, a bit of an epic fail on Hurley's part, really. And Jin sees this and quietly recognizes the humble epic fail and takes pity on Hurley. But before he can take pity on Hurley Hurley steps on an urchin.
He steps
and
on
goes,
an urchin.
ouchie, my little toes.
And cue the best part of this episode by far.
Hurley, Jin helps Hurley get his bearings, drags him to the beach, and all the while Hurley's going, ow, 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 and oh god, and screaming, and then Jin's like looking at the foot and trying to like pluck like the urchin out and stuff, and Hurley's like, oh man, there's venom in that urchin. I saw this on TV. The only way to stop it is you gotta pee on my foot.
Pee on my foot.
You gotta pee on my foot.
Pee on my foot.
And while Jin is like trying to like fix Hurley's foot, Hurley is like screaming
Just
with increasing
screaming.
desperation and saying, you gotta pee on it, Jin. Pee
It's
on my
funny.
foot.
And like motioning too. And,
yeah, and Jin's like, no.
there's a whole thing.
You
Jin
meant
doesn't pee on his foot.
he doesn't pee on his foot. And honestly, coward's move.
Cowards. Yeah, true.
Yeah, I mean, prove me wrong. Real friends piss on their friend's foot when they ask for it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Only when they ask for it.
of course.
Yeah.
I'm not a monster.
No. Not even a mobster.
Not even a mobster could piss on a friend's foot.
Yeah.
Am I wrong?
And then Jin like gives him urchin to
Yeah,
eat.
Jin, like they're sitting and Jin says like, here's a little like urchin to sip on, and Hurley's like, oh no, it looks gross. Like, you know that brand of like kind of racist like joke where like the joke is like sushi, it's raw fish.
Yeah.
What the heck? I feel
These
like this
Asians eating their weird food.
Yeah, it feels a little bit rooted in that.
Yeah.
Because Hurley sees it and is like, oh no, and says like, well, I gotta get my protein, and chugs it down, and
then he throws up.
and Jin's like, oh no, oh brother, and it's like, okay. And we're like, well, maybe it's vaguely racist, but at least it's not the other stuff.
Yeah.
So then
Is that the end of that?
that's not the end of that, but
Uh-huh.
we'll cover the other subplots first and
Okay.
foremost. Because all the other subplots are like resolved very neatly in one single scene.
Yeah.
We'll get to it. There's another subplot where Sun is like
She's
we
gardening.
learn about Sun's garden this
Yeah.
episode. Sun
Yeah.
has a garden,
She had a secret garden.
and Kate takes Jack to it and is like, check it out. Check out a cool garden that Sun has. And they're gardening, and Kate's just kind of like shooting the shit and being like, I forget what she's saying.
Blabbering.
Just
Blabbering on.
just chit chatting, shooting the breeze. And Sun smiles at something she says, and suddenly Kate goes, oh, wait, you understood me. You can speak English.
You can speak English.
And Sun's like, please don't tell. This is back when people didn't realize Sun could speak English.
Mhm.
That was a whole thing. And so Sun kind of explains, like, I didn't tell my husband because it's complicated. Love is complicated. And I don't tell him because I love him. Just please keep it a secret. And that's that.
Yeah.
There's another plot where Saeed is kind of dicking around with compasses.
Oh yeah.
He's making his own compass. Locke comes by for a second to be to like
post. He just left Boone.
yeah. He's like, I left Boone out to go hunting. He wants to learn how to hunt, and Saeed's like, you think he'll catch anything? And Locke just like, hell no.
No.
That kid, fuck no. He's useless.
He is useless.
And so they kind of shoot the shit. Locke has a cute little monologue about being a weeaboo.
Oh
Not
yeah.
a weeaboo, sorry, fuck. That's something else entirely. Weebelow.
A Weebelow.
And Saeed's like, what the heck's a Weebelow? And like Locke is clearly like in like that mode of just like, I didn't expect to have to explain what a Weebelow is. And it's just like, it's like Cub Scout-y thing. We would like,
We
tie
made
knots.
knots, looked at birds.
I wasn't a super popular kid,
Yeah.
It was fine. It's like maybe the most human moment of Locke that Locke gets
It's sweet.
in like an episode where he's otherwise
He's a monster.
pretty much a monster.
He's awful.
He's fucking unredeemable. So they have that nice moment, and Saeed takes Locke's compass and brings it to Jack and says, check it out. North is that way, but the compass points that way. Guess this compass is just broken. Uh-oh, this is probably meaningless. Whatever.
But we know it's magnetics.
We know it's magnets. Ba 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 ba.
Electromagnetism.
And then there's another scene where Locke and Charlie are just Jack and Charlie are looking at Locke just perched on a rock by the beach.
Oh.
And they're just kind of like sizing him up. And Charlie's like, you know what? That guy's probably crazy, but I trust him to get me off the island. And Michael plays with Vincent, or Michael and Walt play with Vincent for a sec. And then we go to the caves where every single one of these subplots is like addressed and resolved all at once.
Yeah, they're all just hanging out to end their storylines together.
Yeah, they're hanging out in the subplot caves, and they're fucking Kate gives Jack some seeds for the garden. I think Jin comes along and gives Hurley a like perfectly cleaned and gutted fish.
Yeah.
Is that all that happens? That's
pretty. The other ones sort of like float because it's like the sun is never resolved.
Yeah, sun is never resolved.
The electromagnetism is not resolved.
It's not resolved. I think maybe Said.
I mean, that's still not resolved.
I think Said is just kind of like hanging out, still trying to figure out some maps or something. Maybe.
They're just all together.
It's a nice. It's not like the best, but like Lost in this era was way more about the ensemble of characters.
Yeah.
And so it's nice to be like having these having like all these characters kind of like going from one place to another. Like Jack's role this episode is very weird.
Yeah.
He like gives Hurley like advice on fish, and then he kind of shoots the shit with Charlie about Locke. And then he goes to talk to Locke for a second too and is like, "Hey, how's the boar hunting going?" And they're just kind of like, "Yeah, you know, between you and me, I don't know, the boar's kind of not going great." And like it's a pace that we're not used to from Lost.
Yeah.
From Lost.
It's very meandering.
Which I personally love, especially in contrast to the rest of this fucking episode, which is like irredeemable filth.
I didn't find much redeemable about this episode.
No,
I think it was just the Hurley piss scene.
Yeah, that's really it. That's really like you could take that episode, take the rest and put it in the trash.
Yeah. It wasn't good.
It was like I was saying earlier, this might be worse than some of the stuff we've seen in season 6.
I think it is.
Because of the way it mishandles its subject matter.
Yeah.
Season 6 is obviously like unwatchable trash, but it's never like it's never anything as like deeply offensive as this.
Yeah, this is just a nightmare to watch.
This is awful. If there's one episode of Lost I would say you could fucking absolutely skip, no questions asked, it's this one probably.
But you know what that raises?
Oh, what could it possibly raise?
The idea of questions asked.
Questions asked? Don't tell me this episode raised questions.
This raised questions.
Oh, fuck. You did ask it. God damn it.
This raised questions.
Fuck.
Can I ask?
You must.
All right. Well, what is inside the hatch?
Oh, a little man named Desmond, a little station called the Swan, a little button that you push every 108 minutes. You know.
Yes.
Classic.
Who built the hatch?
Fucking the team from 1977, Radzinski and the Mean Nerds that were beating up Sawyer that time.
Yes.
They built it.
Why was Locke's compass not working?
Because the heart of the island is a big magnet that's inside of all of us, and et cetera, et cetera. Magnet.
Yes. Why was Sawyer under arrest at the Sydney Police Department? The first interesting question.
This I want to know. This is the first thing that I'm like genuinely... The only thing I can think of is he did kill that guy. We did see him kill that guy, but please.
It's great.
Oh, holy...
He had headbutted the Minister of Agriculture, Fishing, and Forestry.
Can we get a citation on that, please?
Exodus Part 1.
Ooh. Oh, we actually haven't seen that episode.
Yeah.
Oh shit! Oh man! Oh, I hope. God, I'm praying for one thing from this show, and it's not going to give it to me. Give me a scene of Sawyer headbutting an Australian cabinet member.
Yeah, I really want that too.
Please. That rules.
How did Shannon's father die?
Oh, I actually remember this. It's a car crash or something, right?
Yeah. A special car crash.
Special car crash that basically like Jack had 2 patients, chose to work on not Shannon's daughter. I don't know if not Shannon's dad rather.
Yeah, yeah, it was Shannon's dad and
not Penny's
Jack's future wife.
Yes,
and he didn't want to marry the dad, I guess. So
he didn't want to marry the dad, which is all right. Sure, Jack.
What was the nature? Okay, now we're into self-implied territory.
Okay, good.
What was the nature of Boone's dream?
It showed him the it helped him let go of his emotional baggage with Shannon, so that he could fucking commit to, so we could finally commit his true purpose, and die 5 episodes later in a tiny plane.
I like your answer better. Their answer is sort of bland. It says as the episode itself revealed, it was a drug-induced experience that enabled Boone to let go of his obsession with Shannon. It's worth mentioning, however, that the dream may be more than just psychologically induced, but also produced by the mythological forces of the island, enabled via the drug induction.
Yeah, that's...
Okay.
You know, sometimes you do a drug and you think, this has got to be due to the mythical nature of the island I'm on. That's what it has to be. It can't be the chemicals in my brain
drug,
being altered.
Yeah.
It's got to be the
hallucinogenic
mythics of the
drug.
island. Yeah.
My God. And those are all the questions.
What great questions.
Yeah, not bad.
Wow, I learned a lot. Glad to be done with that episode.
Yeah, it was garbage.
It was bad. So before we roll, before we do our fun roll, as we mentioned at the top, this is we have 30 whole episodes of Lost left. So as a result of that, we're not going to be rolling 1 to 60 anymore. We're rolling 1 to 30, so we can minimize on doubles.
Beautiful.
We're going to be cutting down, I think, every half more or less to keep from constantly hitting the roll button. So I was going through our list, going through a tracker to keep it up to date, to be like, you know, to make sure that basically,
what did we watch?
Make sure what we've watched, keep track of what's good.
Yeah.
And basically cut it down to the 30 remaining. And in that process, I have basically kind of a picture of where we're at roughly. Some stats, some numbers. Not just 4, 8, 15, 16, 23, and 42, folks.
My God.
More numbers than that.
No, not those numbers.
So, the first thing I have is basically the episodes we have left by season. So which season do you think we have the most episodes left of?
Season 4?
No, in fact.
Season...
It might seem that way because season 4 is the shortest season.
Oh, yeah.
It's episode...
Season 2?
We have both watched the least episodes of season 4 and have the least remaining because of how season 4
that makes sense.
Season 2 is a good guess. Season 2 is the second most. Season 1, in fact.
Season 1. Oh, that's great.
We have 7 season 1 episodes left. 6 in season 2. 5 in season 3. 4 in season 4. 3 in season 5. And then bad news. 5 in season 6.
No.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
One more interesting thing that came out of this particular number set is that in season 1, 2, and 3 are the longest ones. Season 1 is 25 episodes. Season 2, 24. And season 3, 23. We have watched 18 episodes of each of those seasons.
Wow.
Perfectly across the board.
That's interesting. Yeah.
That's very weird. When I saw that number, I was like, that's fucked up.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's funny also because this episode that we watched, season 1 episode, made it 18. It's fucked up. The next little number I have here is basically like what is the longest contiguous set of episodes that we've seen? What's the stretch of Lost that we know the most about?
That we know, yeah.
And the longest stretch of episodes is 11 consecutive.
Wow, that's
watched.
great.
Yeah, we've got a lot of Lost watch. This is from season 2, episode 21, question mark, to season 3, episode 7, not in Portland.
Wow.
So this covers like the end of season 2 and like them.
This is really good Lost. Them
being stuck in prison. This is a highlight of Lost IMO.
Yeah.
Remember when the gang was stuck in prison?
It was great.
Remember when Sawyer looked at Kate in a cage and said, "Freckles," and Kate said, "Damn it."
Yeah.
And Jack was like, I don't know, pacing back and forth in a big aquarium.
Yeah.
That's the Lost we know best.
Weird.
The next longest stretch, 10 episodes straight.
Wow.
Late season 5. Season 5, episode 7, Life and Death of Jeremy Bentham. 2, season 5, episode 16, The Incident. And this kind of bummed me out because that means that pretty much covers the whole stretch of them being in Dharma.
We don't have any more Dharma.
We really don't. We have literally the finale left for that. And that's all we have of the Dharma times.
It's okay.
I'm fine with that.
We had to leave it.
Yeah, it had to end at some point. The stretches of unwatched episodes we have left are all like blocks of 1 and 2 episodes. Okay. So it's all just like random shit.
Yeah, it's just loose ends now.
It's really just loose ends at this point. The final like section of this is basically by character. By character that they focus on.
Oh, interesting.
So of the episodes we have remaining, what character do you think has the most real estate?
I'm gonna say I don't know. Jack?
That's correct.
Yeah.
I have bad news. We have 5 Jack episodes left. Of the 30 we have, a full 6 of them are going to be about the fucking sad doctor who sucks.
I like it. Let's do it.
I'm pretty into it,
Let's
honestly.
do it, yeah.
I'm ready to roast this jerk.
Yeah, exactly.
Did you know that Jack has fucking 14 episodes dedicated to him?
Yeah, I would believe that.
It's so many.
He's supposed to be the main character.
He's supposed to be the main character, but he sucks so bad.
He does suck. He's boring.
Next up, we have 4 Locke episodes left.
Okay.
I don't know if you want me to spoil these all quite yet, or do you want to just kind of like see them all as they go?
Let's see them as they go.
All right, sure.
I like to know some, but not all.
Okay, so Jack 5, Locke 4, those are the major players.
Uh-huh.
I also want to mention that
Who do we have the least of?
There's a couple of like ones that are left. I think those are the surprises I want to like leave. So then it's like this will, and then it'll be
when
like
it's like saying goodbye.
Exactly. Yeah.
Is there anyone we're done with?
There's a lot of people we're done with, and that's the final thing I've got here is the characters we're done with, and we can say goodbye. But I also want to mention that we do also have 5 episodes left with no central character.
Oh, that's a lot.
They're all like premieres, or there's 1 that's a season premiere and 4 that are a season finale.
Okay.
And that does include the finale
wow.
of the show.
Great.
So look forward to that, I guess.
Okay, I do.
6 of them are about the sad doctor. Almost 6 of them are about the bald guy. And another 6 of them are just fucking weird set pieces that are like all over the place.
So that's most of it,
Yeah, that pretty much covers that's half of them.
Interesting.
And then the other half, you'll just have to wait and see.
Okay.
Finally, we want to say a goodbye to the characters whomst we're done with. I ordered this in order of like how many episodes they have dedicated to them. And the most episodes is Charlie. We have no more Charlie episodes. We watched all 5 Charlie episodes.
Rest in piss.
Rest in piss to Charlie Pace. With 4 episodes, we are done with Michael as well.
Rest in piss.
With 3 episodes, we are done with Juliet Burke.
Rest in peace.
And Mr. Echo as well with 3 episodes.
Rest in peace.
And finally, a couple of one-offs, people who only had 1 episode that we're done with. We're done with Boone, thankfully.
Rest in piss.
We're done with Walt.
Rest in piss.
We're done with Shannon.
Rest in piss.
We are done with Rose and Bernard.
Rest in peace.
We are done with Nikki and Paolo. Remember them?
Rest in piss.
Rest all the way in piss. We're done with Miles.
Oh, rest in peace.
We're done with Daniel Faraday.
Rest in peace.
And, of course, we have no more Richard Alpert episodes.
Rest in peace.
We knocked that one out very early.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was like episode 2.
Oh, that was an awful
It was not a good episode.
Ew.
So that's the state of that's our official state of the island shuffle.
Okay, that's good.
What we've got left. That's the shape of things to come. So
good to know what we're up against. That's
I just kind of like having a clear head of like what to expect going forward.
Yeah,
there's still a lot
expecting.
left. I would argue that this was the worst episode of Lost maybe we've seen.
Yeah.
There's another one that we haven't seen yet that is like widely agreed upon to be the worst.
Really?
I'm curious to see where it stands.
Is it season 6?
Season 3, actually.
Okay.
Which is interesting.
Okay. Well, what do you say we watch one?
What do you say we watch one? I would love to watch one more episode of Lost, just one more, and then 29 more after that.
I'll go to random.org.
Sure.
Put in 1 to 30.
Sure.
And get 12.
12, eh? 12. Well, we're going to talk to Season 2, Episode 17, Lockdown. My friend, it is a Locke episode.
Of course it is, with a name like that.
With a name like Lockdown, you know it's got to be a Locke episode.
Well, he was a bad boy this time. Let's see what he is next time.
I'm so excited to see how they decide to write Locke this time. Maybe he's maybe he's a psychopath savant, or maybe he's just like a sad guy.
He is both all the time, and I'm here for it.
He contains multitudes, like we all do. That's been the episode this week. Thank you all so much for watching Lost, first of all, and for listening to our show, second of all.
Mostly for watching Lost.
Thank you. Keep Lost alive. Never let Lost die. I've been Bean. You can follow me at Twitter at Barrier Trio.
I've been James. Follow me just at jamesbrown.space.
Yes, a great website.
Thank you.
You can follow the show on facebook.com/theislandshuffle and twitter.com @islandshuffle. You can find us also on Spotify, Stitcher. I think we're on Stitcher. Yeah, we're on Stitcher.
Yeah.
And you can give us a 5-star review if you like, or you can give us a 1-star review if you don't like. Just shoot us one of those.
Give us a review.
Give us a dang review. Why don't you? Please. Also, we want to shout out noisepace.xyz. our fancy little podcast network that hosts us dearly. By the way, Noisepace has a Patreon now.
Yes.
Patreon.com/Noisepace, I think.
Keep it going.
Noisepace.xyz/support for more information. If you wish to toss a couple bucks to Matt, he is donating. He is like pretty much like hosting all these podcasts.
Funding everything.
Yeah, give him some dollars, please.
He's the producer.
He deserves it. He's basically the producer of this mess. Shout out to Matt, as always, for hosting us. And what the heck? As long as you're giving dollars to Noisepace, why don't you listen to some of their other podcasts?
Yes.
They're good. They got Giants Confirmed. You got Tuning Fork. You got Jergin It. You got Fear Baiting. You got Middlebrow Madness.
Middlebrow Madness?
It's great. It's a lot of good podcasts to fill any possible niche you might have.
You love podcasts.
I sure do.
Listen to one.
You're listening to this one, you might as well listen to a couple more.
More. Who's your favorite, Michael?
It's Michael Scott.
Oh.
Wait.
Scott. It was Moore. It was a Moore joke.
Oh.
Michael Moore.
Michael Moore is not my favorite Michael. My favorite Michael is Michael Melanson, my roommate.
Oh, that's sweet.
Shout out to my roommate who's good. Anyways, that's the show.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to the show. We're starting this week. We watched season 1, episode 13, Hearts and Minds, and it's a Boone episode.
It was bad.
Sad, and here we go. Like we say at the start of every episode.